everybody. As Chris mentioned earlier, today is CIY Sunday, where our students are going to come and share a little bit about the trip we had earlier this month, at the beginning of July, where we got to go up to Holland, Michigan for a week of CIY Move. And this is something that we've done for the past few years after every week that we go up to CIY. And I think that each time we do it, it's been an encouragement to you all. And so I would hope that today that something that one of the students shares will maybe strike a chord with you. Maybe it will be something that kind of sticks out in your mind, something that gets you thinking a little bit, something that maybe even challenges you a little bit in your faith. And so I hope that that happens this morning. I pray that that happens this morning as our students get to preach for us today. We've gone to CIY for the past few years, as long as I've been here, even before that. And it's one of the things we say about CIY is that it is the best week of the year in our student ministry. The best week of the year in our high school ministry, where we get to go and spend a week on a college campus. We get to disconnect from some of the things that are happening at home, some of the friends that we have here, and we get to go and usually a pretty long bus ride away to a location. We've been in Holland, Michigan the past few years. And we get to spend time with 1,700, 1,900, sometimes close to 2,000 other high schoolers who share the same faith, who believe the same things. And so it's pretty awesome to get to experience that, to get to just be around so many other students who are trying to live out their faith in the same way that all of our students are as well. Some facing the same challenges, facing the same difficulties, but also getting to celebrate awesome things as well that you guys will get to hear about today. So the first thing we're going to do this morning is we're just going to invite the students up on stage, and they're going to share a little bit about their favorite part of CIY. So I'm going to ask our first group of guys to come on up.
Hi, my name is Grant, and I'm going to be a sophomore at School of the Osage. And my favorite part of CIY was probably the worship, because the band there was the Aaron Pelsu band, and I just liked them because there was more like a rock band. I was very excited to see everyone just like happy, I guess.
Hi, my name is Cannon, and I'll be a freshman at Eldon. And my favorite part of CIY was small groups, because you got to open up about how you felt that day, and you got to talk more about this session that day.
I'm Caleb. I'm going to be a sophomore at Eugene High School, and my favorite part about CIY was watching everyone get baptized, because that's a really big decision.
Hi, my name is Jack. I'm a freshman at Eldon High School. My favorite part was being around like all the Christians and stuff there, because you don't really get to experience that every day.
Okay, my name is Emma Kranz. I'm going to be a sophomore at Eldon High School. And my favorite part about CIY was getting to watch two of my super close friends, Harley and Belle, decide to give their life to Christ and be baptized. I've been friends with them for a lot of years and grown really close to them and watched them grow in their faith. It was really cool to watch them finally make that step to get closer to Him.
My name is Harley Lawless, and I'm going to be a sophomore at Eldon High School. My favorite thing about going to CIY was getting baptized and growing in my friendships.
Hi, my name is Clara. I'm going to be a freshman at Eldon High School, and my favorite part about CIY was seeing three of my closest friends give their life to God.
My name is Lydia Young. I'm going to be a junior at Eldon High School, and my favorite part about CIY is how it opens opportunities for you to interact with people you wouldn't normally interact with.
Hi, my name is PJ. I'm going to be a sophomore at Eldon High School. My favorite part was when people got baptized at Lake Michigan, because the people around us were like clapping, even though they probably didn't know what was going on. But it was just really cool because it might have sparked something in their mind that they might get baptized.
Hi, my name is Jack Pearson, and I'm going to be a senior at Eldon High School. And my favorite part about CIY was the worship, because you were around people who were singing their hearts out, and you were singing your heart out, and it was just pretty cool. And we also had the same band that was there for our freshman year, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Blake Gretchen. I'll be a junior at Camdenton High School. And my favorite part of CIY move was just the camaraderie that we all shared. Even if we weren't from the same church, we all just had the same camaraderie. And especially in our church, we really just came closer together. So, yeah.
My name is Jacob Krantz, and I graduated from Eldon High School, and I'm going to be a freshman at Missouri S&T. And my favorite part about CIY was that we did a lot better at the volleyball tournament this year. We would lose it a lot, and this year we got third, so it's great.
Hi, my name is Quinn Randall. I'm going to be a senior at Versailles High School, and my favorite part about CIY was not having the stress of putting together that volleyball team or any other sports team there.
Hi, my name's Emily Steen. I'll be a senior at School of the Osage. My favorite part of CIY was just getting to know people on a closer level. I don't get to see these people every day of the week since I go to a different school. So CIY, I took the opportunity to get closer to a lot of more people there. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Sydney Riley. I'm going to be a junior at Osage, and my favorite part was small groups because you get to make all these new connections with people because of Christ, that He led you to that position. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Ella. I'm going to be a junior at Osage. My favorite part was the fireworks because we got to go on this giant, beautiful hill over the lake and just sitting on a hill with all my friends, so it's really nice.
My name's Maddie. I go to School of the Osage, and I will be a senior this year. My favorite part of CIY was in the mornings, around like 7:30 before breakfast, a group of us would get together at a local coffee shop and just read through the scripture that we were studying for the week, and the scripture that was on our hearts that day in the story of Elijah. And that was just a really cool part for me because I feel like I got to deepen my faith with my friends and build that up.
My name's Jason Holland. I'm going to be a sophomore at Eldon High School. My favorite part was probably walking around downtown Holland and just trying all the local restaurants. Really good ice cream place and deep dish pizza place. It was the best. So, yeah.
My name is Fisher Snelling. I'll be a junior at Eldon High School this year, and my favorite part was being baptized.
My name's Cruz. I'll be a freshman at Eldon this year, and my favorite part was becoming better friends with some of the older kids and making new friendships.
My name is Gage. I'm a freshman at Eldon High School, and my favorite part about CIY was just being with my friends and seeing them turn their lives to God.
Fisher just gave us 2 thumbs up. If you watch the video here in just a little bit, that's the exact same thing he did after he came out of the water of getting baptized. Just shut up, 2 thumbs. So the next thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about each day. The theme for the week was focusing on the story of Elijah. And if you've never read the story of Elijah, you can read it in 4 or so chapters in the Bible. It goes pretty quick. But it's a really great story in lots of different ways that his story relates to our story. So I'm going to ask the students who are going to share a little bit about each day to come on up to the stage. And one of the things that really kind of stuck out to me and something that they kind of focused on the very first day, and I think one of the challenges that we have in reading Scripture and reading the Bible and seeing lots of stories of all of these great people of faith like Moses and Noah and Paul and Elijah is that we can begin to think that you know what, those were important Bible characters. They maybe had their lives together. We can't really relate to them on a personal level. And one of the things that they reiterated from the very beginning of the week, and it says this, I believe, in the book of James, that Elijah was a man just like us, that he struggled just like we do. he had some really high highs, but then also had some really low lows. And a lot of times those lows happened right after he had a spiritual high. He defeated the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, and then right after that ran away because he was scared. And so I thought it was a great challenge for us as we read Scripture to look at those stories and to understand that they are individuals just like us. They have their spiritual highs, the times where they feel close to God, where they do the things that God calls them to, but then also the times where they are running in fear because of whatever circumstance they might be in. And so they aren't just some Bible character that we don't really relate to. Instead, Elijah is a man just like us. And so we got to look into his story this week, and they're going to share a little bit about each day.
So I get the privilege today of speaking about day one, and day one's theme was "You are called into the story of God." I just think it's really cool that not just specific people are called into the story of God, but every single one of us are called into his story. So that night we got introduced to the story of Elijah, and just how from the beginning all the way up to where he was, just how it led up to that. And Elijah's name meant "My God is Lord." And during that time, King Ahab, made the Israelites worship a god named Baal. And during that time, he went against the social norm because he was serving God, and he was being faithful even though no one else was. So God called him into his story to spread the word and just let the Israelites know that his God is the real God.
I get the privilege of talking about day 2. So the theme was "You can trust that God can provide because he is real." And that day, Mark Moore was talking, and he challenged us to either get on the track or get off of it, because with our own faith, there is no middle ground. We either all in or all out.
Okay, so also that night they had kind of like a train track. I don't know what it was, but it had lights on the top, and you pulled a lever to make one of the lights light up. So there was a blue light, which was you wanted to rededicate your life or get back on track, and then a green light was making a first-time decision to be baptized. And so students were encouraged to go down and pull the lever for whichever one they were deciding to do, and then that would light up and we could all see it. And also it made a noise, it sounded like a train, and everyone would celebrate with them after that. So
I'm talking about day 3. So day 3 was pretty special for me, not only because me and Jason and Sam went down and had great deep dish pizza, but that was also the night I decided to get baptized. So night 3, in the story of Elijah, we talked about when he ran away because Queen Jezebel said she was going to kill him, basically. So he ran away to a cave, ran 40 days, 40 nights. And God came to Elijah in his cave, and when he was basically just waiting to die. He had done great things for God, and now he was just going to wait to die because he was scared. So that message spoke to me really well, because I thought that I wasn't good enough to be with God. That was why I held back from being baptized for so long. So when I heard that message, I decided, okay, now's the time. So the speaker that night, he realized that we probably weren't literally stuck in caves like Elijah was. So he set up lights. We had lights all the way around the gym, and they represented one cave for each light, emotional caves. So anger, fear, loneliness, shame, and apathy. I went to the anger cave. The verse for the anger cave was, "Put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life, and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds." So after hearing this sermon, I was like, okay, well, I'm ready. I don't need to be perfect for God. God will come to me, right? So I immediately went to Tyler right after. I was like, okay, let's get this done. I want to get baptized. And so finally, on Friday, we got baptized in a pool with Harley. It was pretty great.
Another cave that night that Fisher was talking about was loneliness, and the verse for that cave was, "Where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence?" Psalms 139:7. And I stood up for the loneliness cave, so all the students were asked to stand up for each of their caves, whichever one they chose, to stand up and make that public confession. And so what I found ironic was for the loneliness cave, the most people stood up for. And that even though all of us are feeling lonely, there are so many other people out there that feel the same way. And so I chose to stay and pray instead of going up into the lights and being with other people, which is probably not the best idea since your cave is loneliness. I decided to be alone. So probably not the best idea. But I did choose to just stay and pray and worship. But I just thought that was such an important topic for CIY to hit on, that so many students in high school age, they feel alone and they don't feel like they've found their place yet. And so having that addressed at CIY, I thought was really important.
The cave I'm talking about is the cave of fear. And that one's verse was, "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." Deuteronomy 31:8. And I stood up for the fear cave for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to college this fall, and that's really scary. And there's a lot of just big changes happening in my life right now, but it was a good reminder that verse is a good reminder, and just the whole week was a good reminder of how God's with you, and he can allow me to trust in myself to not screw everything up.
And then the cave that I'll be talking about is shame. I feel like shame is one of the harder ones to, to stand up for, because it was one of the ones that like most people go to if they feel like they don't have a close relationship with God, or they made a bad decision. They just kind of go to shame. And the verse that they gave us was Psalms 51:10. "Oh my God, in you I trust. Let me not be put to shame. Let not my enemies exalt over me." And that verse stood out to me because it kind of gave me the sense of relief that, God's there. He will forgive you.
There's one more cave, the cave of apathy. That cave is just about like you're going through the motions of your just relationship with God. You're not really feeling it. You're just going through every Sunday, just going. And the verse for that was, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." So that just encourages us to just keep going in our faith, even though we don't always feel the best. Just keep going and grow your relationship in God.
I would say that day 3, the caves that they just talked about, was probably the most impactful night of the week. And CIY was very intentional with the words that they chose, and very intentional about the caves that they chose to be represented by those words. Thinking that of those 5 things, those are probably 5 of the greatest struggles that teens have. And what they did is they just asked at the beginning of each cave for a student to stand up if that was something that they struggled with. And it was kind of crazy just to see so many students stand up for anger or for loneliness. For each of those caves, just students being willing to admit that they struggle with those things, which is an amazing thing, an awesome thing. But then the other thing that was pretty cool is the different caves, the lights that represented those caves were up kind of in the top bowl section of the gym. And so the students could go up and go to the light that represented each cave and spend time praying with each other. And the cool thing was that sometimes they ended up praying with students that they had never met before, just somebody that was struggling with that same thing. They had that connection that maybe they dealt with anger in their life, and so they could pray for each other and just build a short friendship based on a struggle that they had, but also based on the truth, like Fisher said, that no matter what, God is willing to come into our caves and to pull us out of that, and that is a beautiful truth. Day 4, the theme was, "You will find purpose when God sends you to reach others." There's quite a few of our students who aren't here this week, and one of those is Parker Dunham, and he made a short video for us to talk a little bit about day 4. So go ahead and look up at the screen and watch this.
Hi, I'm Parker Dunham. I am a graduated senior, going to be a freshman at Southwest Baptist University next year. My favorite part of the week was getting to pray with all the graduated seniors at the last night. It was kind of our last little thing we got to do at CIY. It was kind of sad, but we got to spend a little bit more time with Craig and Kelly. They were our small group leaders these past few years, so it was kind of good just to get to talk with them a little bit more. I'm going to talk a little bit about night 4, or day 4. The lesson that night was Brad Tate. It was a really good lesson. He talked a lot about just going through the day-by-day things faithfully and being faithful no matter what. And along those lines, he talked about reaching others. And so the theme for that day was I find my purpose when God sends me to reach others. And that really kind of hit home with me because lately I've just been kind of going through the motions, not really thinking about Christ and all the little things I do every day. And part of that is talking to others about Christ. And so just that last couple days, that mission to go out and tell others about Christ, I think was a really good thing for all of us in the youth group, and it really had an impact on me.
And our last day was day 5, and that theme was you will continue as God's Spirit empowers and his mission endures. And so the whole theme that day was kind of going out into doing kingdom work, going out into God's kingdom and glorifying him. And so there are a couple of decisions that could be made that night. You could go into full-time ministry, a decision to be a kingdom worker, and things like that you could stand up and say, I am committed to that. And a way they did that was you came down to the front of the stage and you wrote your name on a piece of paper, and an adult leader pinned it to your back, kind of saying that you're committed and you've signed up for this life of kingdom work, and possibly it's being a full-time minister or going out into the mission field or just being a kingdom worker in your job as a teacher or as a nurse or as something along those lines. And that was a really special day for me. I just got to see a lot of students reflect on where God was in their life. Something that was really special to me was I got to walk down to the front of the stage with my good friend Nicole Reynolds. She's going to be a freshman in college this year, and she just talked to me a little bit about how she had felt like God was really tugging on her heart to go and become a kingdom worker and go into the ministry field. And she had no idea what that looked like yet. She had no idea where she was going to go from there, but she knew that God was working in her heart and really just calling her to that. And so that was a really special time for me. I also got to see a lot of other students stand up to go into full-time ministry, and hearing different stories of people. It just really impacted me in that whole message of theme of going into ministry and pursuing that as a career.
As Maddie mentioned, the last day is whenever they really kind of push hard this idea of being a kingdom worker. They focus on it a lot throughout the week, but one of the ways on the last day that they challenge the students with that is by something called a kingdom worker card. And Jack is going to share a little bit about what that is.
So on day 5, they gave us a kingdom worker card. And it's basically like a card that we're not supposed to open until we feel like God tells us to open it. And like once we open it, it's a challenge. Like the card has a challenge on us for us to like, we have to try to complete the challenge. And mine was find a local foster care system and like help them and see like what, like if they need help with anything. And yeah.
So one of my favorite things about CIY is their challenge every year to the students to be a kingdom worker. And essentially what that means is to use your gifts, your talents, and your abilities, the things that God has given you, to tell others about God. And maybe that means full-time ministry, but maybe that means just using the things that you love. Maybe it's your job, and using those things to spread his word, to make his kingdom greater. And every year at CIY, they kind of partner with an organization to bring awareness to a particular issue. a few years ago is about teen suicide. This year, they wanted to bring awareness to the issue of foster care, the issue of the number of kids who are in the foster care system in the United States. And so they each year produce a movie, and this year they produced a movie called Hard to Place. And it's based on a true story about two young kids, a brother and a sister, who are trying to escape their home life. They have a dad who tries to love them and thinks he's doing the right thing, but usually isn't doing the right thing in how to love them. And so it's just not a great situation for them. And so this short story kind of tells their stories. They try to escape that, and they find their way into the foster care system. But they just want to bring awareness to the issue that is the foster care system, the numerous kids who don't have parents who can look after them each and every day, who can love them the way that they need to be loved. And there are 45,000 high schoolers that come to CIY events throughout the summer. And so they bring a lot of awareness, and they challenge the students to take that back home. And so a lot of the Kingdom Worker cards that we had this year were challenges related to this, to bringing awareness to the issue that we have in our country with the foster care system. And the issue being that we just have so many young kids who need loving families to take them in, maybe for a long time, maybe for a short amount of time,